Terrifying Lost at Night horror stories. The wind whispered through the trees like a haunting lullaby as I ventured deeper into the heart of the forest. My heart raced with each step, a primal instinct warning me of the danger that lurked in the shadows. But curiosity had a tight grip on me, and the stories of the terrifying Lost at Night were too tantalizing to resist. The moon hung low in the sky, casting an eerie glow over the twisted branches that seemed to reach out for me. The forest floor was a carpet of fallen leaves, their rustling underfoot a constant reminder that I was not alone. The flashlight in my hand trembled as I directed its beam around me, revealing gnarled roots that seemed to twist into grotesque faces. Terrifying Lost at Night horror stories. As I trudged deeper, the forest grew denser, and a heavy silence settled like a shroud. My breathing echoed in my ears, a stark contrast to the symphony of sounds I had heard earlier, a symphony that had disappeared without warning. My skin prickled with unease, every instinct within me screaming to turn back. But I pressed on, lured by the thrill of the unknown. The path I had followed had vanished, swallowed by the undergrowth. Panic tightened its grip on my chest, but I reminded myself that I had a compass and a map. Clinging to this shred of assurance, I chose a direction and stumbled forward. Time seemed to stretch and warp, the night growing colder, darker, and more sinister. Then, a distant sound shattered the silence, a faint whisper that slithered through the trees. I froze, my heart pounding in my throat. The whisper grew louder, more distinct, forming into words that seemed to wrap around me like icy fingers. "Stay with us," the voice hissed, each word sending a shiver down my spine. I spun around, my flashlight beam slashing through the darkness, but there was nothing. Just trees and shadows that seemed to dance and sway to the rhythm of my racing pulse. Doubt gnawed at the edges of my sanity, but I shook it off. I was alone out here, miles away from anyone or anything that could harm me. Yet, the voice persisted, a haunting chorus that seemed to emanate from all directions. I quickened my pace, stumbling over roots and fallen branches, desperate to escape the clutches of the forest. But no matter how fast I ran, the voice remained with me, its sinister melody echoing in my mind. Hours must have passed, or was it days, when I stumbled upon a clearing bathed in an otherworldly light. The moon's glow was unnaturally bright here, casting stark shadows that danced across the ground. In the center of the clearing stood a tree unlike any I had seen before. Its bark was as black as coal, its branches twisted and contorted like the limbs of tortured souls. And there, beneath the tree, stood a figure. A silhouette wrapped in darkness, its eyes gleaming like hot coals. My breath caught in my throat as our gazes locked. The voice that had haunted me seemed to emanate from this figure, its lips curling into a malevolent smile. "You found your way," it crooned, its voice a blend of seduction and malice. "We've been waiting for you." Fear and fascination warred within me as I took a hesitant step forward. The figure extended a hand, its fingers elongated and tipped with talon-like nails. My heart thudded in my chest, torn between the terror of the unknown and an irresistible pull toward this enigmatic being. "You've heard our stories, haven't you?" it purred, its words a seductive whisper. "The ones who wander the forest at night, lost and alone, forever trapped in this realm between worlds." The memories of the stories I had heard flooded my mind, the chilling tales of those who had vanished without a trace, consumed by the forest's insatiable hunger. The figure's laughter echoed around me, mocking my feeble attempts to escape the web it had woven. As I stood there, on the precipice of surrender, a distant glimmer caught my eye. The compass. The map. They lay on the ground, just beyond the clearing. With a surge of adrenaline, I broke free from the figure's hypnotic gaze and lunged for my only chance of escape. The figure screeched in rage, a sound that shattered the very air around us. I snatched up the compass and the map, the world around me warping and distorting as the figure's power surged. With a final burst of strength, I sprinted back into the trees, crashing through the underbrush, guided by the compass's needle. The forest fought against my escape, branches clawing at my clothes, roots reaching for my ankles. But I pressed on, my lungs burning, until the trees began to thin, and the moonlight spilled over me once more. I burst through the trailing, collapsing onto the ground as the forest's grasp released me. Gasping for air, I looked back at the edge of the forest, half expecting to see the figure's shadow lurking in the darkness. But there was nothing. Just the trees and the night, unchanged by the horrors I had witnessed. Had it all been a hallucination? A trick of the mind? I clutched the compass and the map to my chest, a cold sweat coating my skin. Whether it was real or not, I knew one thing for certain: I had danced with something ancient and malevolent, something that hungered for lost souls. And as the first rays of dawn painted the sky, I made a vow to never venture into the terrifying lost at night again. Some stories were not meant to be experienced firsthand, for the darkness held secrets that could shatter even the bravest of souls.